What's up, Frank here, your favorite sorcerer. And in this video, I want to address a question that was asked by one of the members of one of the groups that I run. And the question was, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the question was something like, uh, if witchcraft is about self-empowerment, um, how do we make sure that we don't end up, becoming dependent on the spirits? Okay, very good question, and let me address that here. And always remember that my views differ quite a bit from most people in the realm of the occult. But then again, they don't get my results, so I don't give a shit. Number one, you should always see a spirit or a demon or even a god form as an entity that has a specific type of knowledge, power, and value that you want at this point. That means you don't necessarily put it above yourself. Because no matter how great, no matter how powerful and majestic that entity might be, it is still in the realm of possibility for you to achieve that same level. And when I say you, I don't mean your flesh and bone, your whatever you might look like, whatever gender you might look like, whatever, you know, physical body you might have. I'm talking about your spirit and your potential, your limitless potential in terms of consciousness and as an energy being, you could say. Okay. And when it comes to that, you're actually beyond any entity that you might call. Okay. But that's a secret that has to be revealed to you over time. Okay. Now, initially this is a perspective and a state of awareness and consciousness that is not accessible to you. So you will, in the ritual, call up an entity that is oftentimes very terrifying and, seems, overwhelming in terms of its essence, and then what it is able to teach you. Okay. Now, here's my approach. My approach that I've been using for a decade now, a little bit over a decade now. Is how I learn from the spirit. So the first step would be to, let's say you work through a grimoire of your choice. There are many of them out there, right? You would first call that spirit up based on the rituals given in the grimoire. Okay. Now, an evocation has an element of still creating a separation between you and the entity. Okay. Even though, evocation without invocation to a certain extent is impossible. However, you will still come at it with the mindset of a clear separation between you and the entity. Okay. Now, this will gradually be removed as you keep working with that spirit. So at first you call that spirit, give it a task or learn something from it, and then send it away. Now, this external force at this point becomes your you're employed to change something in this very malleable reality matrix that we live in, right? The next step would be to go into deeper levels of understanding. You have to know that any two beings that are in close proximity, and that includes psychic proximity, energetic proximity with each other, interact. Okay? Interact. And a being that is so much stronger than you at this point will change you. Okay. So as you go into deeper rapport with that spirit, which is now like a an invocation, a channeling, or a possession, will change something within you permanently, where it's kind of like a almost like some doorway within you opens up. Okay, and this will have to be integrated over time, but you will come out of the ritual as a changed person, as a changed energetic being. Okay, now the wisdom transferred, the understanding transferred, the power transferred from the spirit over to you is way more than just verbal stuff. Okay, the verbal stuff is almost nothing. When you let it in, the emotions, the energy, the multi-layered, multidimensional communication is quite phenomenal. It's quite phenomenal, and you will then, you know, listen to your dreams, see how things around you change, the synchronicities that you have in your life, what kind of people come into your life, because your energy field is beginning to change, you see, and everything in your life is a reflection of that. So also the people might change, or there might be somebody that comes into your life that has to teach you something every single day. Every single interaction could be a learning experience. Sometimes initiated by the spirit, sometimes just initiated by the new energetic being that you are right now. Okay, and then, and this is how I teach it. I'm not completely sure how other people do it. If they do it the same way, I don't know. But I usually tell a student to then employ that power themselves. See, what you have experienced once, meaning the consciousness of that demon or angel or spirit, you will have access to later on, okay? And at that point you can begin to employ their power as yours. And you will focus in while you're somewhere out in public, and you will conjure up that power, that force within yourself, and then you will visualize the outcome. When I say visualize, okay, it's not the image is really not the most important thing. It's more about creating an emotional shift, combining that energy with your intention, creating an emotional shift. You will cause some sort of change in the outside world. You will either influence a person or a couple of people, depending on how strong you are. You will use that power to manifest something. You know. But one thing's for sure, you will have grown in your potential. And I know that most people don't use spirit contact in that way. Even spirits of the dead can help you with a lot of that stuff. Okay, if it's an entity or a spirit of the dead that has certain qualities that you would want to have, for instance, I don't know, famous people of the past that were like geniuses of something, you would want to learn from them, right? Anyways, the point is this. It is true that you should not be fully dependent on the spirits. See the spirits or the spirit world as some sort of almost unlimited resource of wisdom, power, and knowledge that is there for you to explore and to awaken within yourself. We are, like, as people, as humans, we're closer to the divine than any god or any demon. We're closer to that. When I say the divine, I'm not talking about Yahweh or any of those jokes. Okay? I'm talking about, when I say the divine, it is the unformed everythingness or nothingness, depending on how you want to look at it. Flat line, zero. That from which everything arises and comes into being. And we have the potential of that. Okay, we can get in contact with that. So we're closer to the divine, to cosmic awareness than I would say pretty much most of all of the entities that you could call in a ritual. You see, but this is a realization that you will have in time. But understand this, that any power that you might call into your sphere in an occult ritual, you can potentially hold yourself as well. Okay. And so this is how you don't become dependent on it, and in fact use your witchcraft, your rituals, and your work with the spirit world as an empowering tool. You should grow in the process. It's true. And you will, if you do it correctly. You will be able to call upon the same powers that the demons do. Now, depending on your energy level, depending on the strength of your aura and all of that, of course your results will differ, okay? You can't overcome or neglect the basic abilities that make you, or that enable you to do that stuff in the first place, which is concentration. Build up your energy body, make it stronger, strengthen your aura. Your ability to control your emotions, to direct them, to really streamline your whole being to be laser focused on the outcome that you want. That's what you need to do. That's the power. That's the power that you want. Okay? Don't be confused by the tools, even though they will become helpful. Don't be confused by all the grimoires. Don't be confused by all the systems. And don't think that all the power lies in knowing about the Qliphoth or the tree of life. Okay. There's some incredibly powerful witch doctors in some fucking jungle that have never heard about the fucking Kabbalah. And they will wipe the floor with any of those fuckers. Okay? It is about skills. It's not about the system. Okay? So this is the approach that I recommend you take. And I think I'll leave it at that. See you in the next video. Rebellion, Liberation.